Hey, I'm Zhemmie. Welcome back to my midlife crisis. Today, I'm not doing a check-in at the beginning of this episode because this is actually older footage. So this is my lost storage system episode, which I mentioned a couple episodes back, is one that I originally did all the footage for and then never cut into an episode because I thought it was boring. But you know what? I was really proud of myself. I worked through the mechanics of a copper golem storage system all by myself, and I put something together that really actually works, is very functional, and it made me happy to do. So I really did want to share it with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And I will get back to making some new content next week. I have finished the floor in my area where I'm going to use for my storage. This is where I'm going to be moving my storage to. And I've done a little bit of research on copper golems. So here I have made my sheet of copper golem facts. So first off, if a copper golem is not holding an item, it opens the closest copper chest. So I've got a golem here I've been practicing on. So so he's not holding anything, and he keeps opening this chest. It doesn't have anything in it, so he's out of luck on that one. So if it's not, it opens it. If it finds an item and is holding an item from the copper chest, it will then open the nearest wooden chest. So if he's got an item in his hands, he's going to check the nearest wooden chest. If that chest has the same type of item as it's holding, then he'll places it in. So that's pretty easy. If the chest is empty, it places whatever it is holding in it. So basically it assumes if a chest is empty, then it's just where anything new is supposed to go. So the big thing here, though, is that I was trying to figure out how many chests can they open at a time, and what did they do a certain order, because this seemed important to me. So what I discovered is they cannot open chests more than 1 block above or 2 blocks below. So basically where your copper golem is, they can only reach up 1 block. So that's important to know. It could reach down 2 blocks, but that didn't necessarily seem as useful in this kind of configuration. So then they also open chests in a specific order based on closeness. So the idea is they're supposed to open the closest chests first. And I've been playing around in here, and you'll see what I sort of hit upon with this. But the idea is that it's gonna check them. Although from what I can tell, it also has to do with cardinal direction. And I'll be honest with you, this was the most complicated part of this whole thing of trying to figure out a copper golem sorting system. Last thing is that they will check up to 10 chests before restarting. So that basically tells me that in any sort of copper golem sorting unit, you've got to have 10 chests. And so this was what made sense to me, was taking all of these facts together and trying to reason out a good way to make a copper golem sorting system. So it made sense, first of all, to keep the golem from being able to move too far, because every time it checks a chest, it takes like 3 seconds. And if it decides to go to a different chest that's like way over here somewhere, it's going to have to walk over there. So it seemed to make sense that we had to restrict the movement of the copper golems. So I made this sort of little fenced off area and put a copper chest there in the middle that it can stand on. So because these are fences back here, it actually can't stand in this block right here because it's a fence post. So it made sense to me. You can have 10 chests total in the area before it'll start searching for new ones. And it seems to me that the main thing here is that I want it to be able to sort items into these chests, and then I want this to be an empty chest, so that if there's anything that doesn't belong in one of these 9 chests, it'll put it into the empty chest. That empty chest will filter that item into the next copper chest, which will then have its own copper golem standing on it with its own set of 9 other chests in front of it that it can check, basically so that it keeps passing down the item from one copper golem to the next until it finds the copper golem that has a chest that matches that item. This seems fairly straightforward. Trying to figure out and placing these 9 chests here and sort of figuring out what this copper golem can open, what it can't, was fairly straightforward. Trying to figure out where to place this 10th chest was kind of crazy difficult. So I tried placing it a little bit outside the fence here because I thought, well, it's supposed to be able to reach down and sort of over too, but anything past this fence, if it was anywhere past this fence, it couldn't see. I tried putting another one up. Obviously, it couldn't reach up because it can't reach up too. I tried putting it at the very back in the middle here, and then it kept opening it before some of these chests, which didn't make sense to me because these chests were, I mean, they weren't actually closer. So these chests are like 2 blocks away. This one was 2 blocks away. And so that didn't quite make sense to me either. So I just kept experimenting. And eventually I figured out that if I put this chest here, this will always be the last chest that he opens. So the idea is that if I have, say, for example, in here, I've got jungle log in here, I've got scaffolding in here. And so I would set up all these chests with the stuff in it that I wanted it to sort in here. And then if the stuff in this copper chest doesn't match that, it'll end up in this empty chest, which will then empty into the hopper and move it down the line to the next copper golem, who will then check their chests to try and place that item. So I want to see if I can put some more golems in here, and that'll make things go a little bit faster. So I'm going to test it. I'm going to set up another set of 10 chests here, put another golem in here, and make sure these guys can work in tandem the way I think they're supposed to. And then I'm going to test and see if I can stick a number of more golems into this little area without them like interfering with each other, and see if that's going to work too. Okay, I'm going to go get that set up. So I've got these 2 guys in here. I've got their 2 sets of chests set up, and so far it seems to be doing well. I had a little bit of a misfire with this dude because I was running the hoppers from this chest down into the copper chest. I ran them originally down this way, so it was actually down right down there, and it turns out that was blocking one of the wooden chests for this guy, so I had to rearrange that, run the hoppers behind him, and I was a little worried that maybe that might mean that he wouldn't check the chests in the same order, but he does. So he always checks these 9 first, and then this one, and this one will be empty because I will make sure that it's got some cod in it now, but I will make sure that one's empty, and that one would lead to the next copper golem. The last thing I would test before I sort of try and go back and just get everything set up, so it's a whole bunch of chests in here because I'm going to need a lot more than just these, is whether I can have a lot of golems in here without it messing up the order they check the chests in, because I always need them to check this chest, in this case the one that's sitting behind them, last, because that will ensure that everything feeds through the system properly. So I'm going to go grab some more golems, and actually I guess just some more pumpkins and some more copper blocks, and we're going to try and get some more golems in here and see what happens. All right, I've got all my little buddies in here. See all their little bright faces. Oh, one of them's slipped down into the corner there. That's not good. I'm going to have to figure out how to keep them from doing that to each other. All right, so yeah, here we go. We've got 5 in each. I'm not super convinced this is going to work well. I think they have a little too much room to move around, but we're going to give it a try. I'm going to load up these chests, and we're going to see if they can sort everything the way that I need them to sort it. The test is complete. So if everything went according to plan, I should have ended up in that chest behind me, that final chest with 3 things: leaf litter, pumpkins, and fish. And what did I end up with? Pumpkins, leaf litter, and fish. Rock hard. So there we have it. What I'm going to do is actually tear this all down and figure out how my final configuration of chests is going to need to go. I'm thinking I might do a second level here actually. So I've got room. These are only 3 high. If I can put in a second level of 3 high chests, I could actually have quite a few chests just along this one part, and then I could do some chests out this way and some chests out this way. All right, so I'm going to grab a bunch of leads for these golems so they don't start wandering away, and I'm going to tear this down and start setting up my actual sorting system the way I need it. got my storage system set up the way I like it. When it is all finished, obviously I've taken out the last 2 rows of chests at the top here so I can get some copper golems in the top. But I've got this set up. There's going to be 96 chests in here when I'm finished, and I think that should be enough for my needs for quite a while. So I'm thinking this should do it. But I did just realize that when I put in these sides here, the section over here with the 2 stacks on either side here, I realized that these copper golems that are going to be at this chest over here, this one over here and the one up there, and then the ones on this side are going to be in a different orientation from the copper golems in these chests here. And I realized that might actually mean they might open chests in a different order. So I am going to need to test that, see if that's going to work. And fortunately, I have some volunteers right here. What do you think, guys? Yeah, you're excited, aren't you? The test is complete. If all went according to plan, these 9 chests should have more than just one of each of their item in there. So let's see. Yep. Yes. 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 Good stuff. Okay, and this chest should have nothing in it, but this chest, you see, this is connected by all these hoppers to the next copper chest line, should have 5 fish in it. Yes! All right, so that works. So it looks like it doesn't matter what cardinal direction, like north, south, east, or west, that the copper golem is facing. It looks like it just matters what the orientation of the chests in front of it are. So that is excellent. That means that the system should work. So now when I put anything in this chest up here, this is the start of the system. When I put anything in this chest up here, it should get sorted into these chests and then move to the next copper chest in the line. Then any items that don't get sorted properly into these chests should get to the next chest line, and so on and so forth. It goes all the way along here, then it goes down to this one, and then goes back all the way along all of this line of copper chests. I'm sure there's a more efficient way to do this to this one, which is last. So you can see this is our last chest. This is where any items will go that for some reason do not already have a chest assigned to them. So it's our overflow. So there we have it. It looks like all I need to do now then is put our copper golems in all of our different stations. So it's going to take me a little while to either move them to their places or spawn them in. Might just be easier to spawn them in, to be honest. And then after that, I am going to sort everything into these chests. So I'm going to put items in these chests as I want them to be sorted by the copper golems. And then we should have a functional system. I'm actually getting it's a little disconcerting having these guys stare at me all the time, to be honest with you. Every time I look over here, there's these big bright eyes looking at me, and it's a little disconcerting, but that's okay. I'm getting used to it. Anyways, I'm going to move these guys in. I'm going to get my sorting chest set up, and then we'll see how it all works. Was a lot of moving stuff into chests, but it's done. I've got everything sorted into the chest that I want to, and now I am putting it through its first major test. I put a bunch of random stuff that I left aside into the very first chest, which is over here. So I have put all of this random collection of stuff that I know is already in here into this chest. All of these golems are sorting. We can see that this is the first cell, and we can see now the second cell is starting to look. The third cell is starting. The fourth cell hasn't started yet. So let's watch, because once they realize not everything's there, they're going to put stuff in the overflow chests. It should go to this fourth cell and so on and so forth until it works its way all the way through. That first test actually went really well in terms of the flow of items from one end to the other. So I could see, and once I figured out this blockage in the system, I could see that every cell, copper golem cell, activated in turn down to the last one. Then, however, I noticed that a bunch of items, so this was my overflow, of which there were in fact, like, for example, these chests here made it all the way to the end and didn't get sorted, but over here I have a chest. I have barrels, I have copper chests, I have all, and some of the copper chests actually made it in here from the sorting. So I did a little bit of research because I was curious to see if this was just me not understanding how something worked, and apparently, because everything says that you just have to put one item of the type that you want sorted into that chest, and that you can put multiple items in one chest. On doing a little more reading, I think I actually need to put the items that I want sorted into that chest in the top row. So I'm going to resort some of my chests. It's going to take a little while. Try that, put one of each item that I want in that chest in the top row, and see if that makes a difference. I figured it out. It was actually very simple. It turns out that some of these chests on the bottom row on the top section here were not visible to the copper golems because they had a solid block in front of them, which I should have thought of, but I changed the design of it and I didn't think of it, so I put some slabs in here all across, and it looks like that is now working properly. I just put some pumpkin seeds through, and the pumpkin seeds went into the right chest, and I put some other things through, and they all went into their correct chest. So I think I have done it. This is an exciting moment for me. I have actually created something in Minecraft of my own logic and my own intuition and my own knowledge of the game, and I've never actually done that before. So I'm going to say yay Zhemmie, yay me. And I don't necessarily recommend doing this for every single thing in Minecraft. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to do it every time either. But I think every once in a while, figuring out the mechanics and working through it yourself is very satisfying. So here we have it. I have a storage system. It's going to allow me to move forward, be able to find everything, store everything. I have tons of room in this system. And until then, I'm Zhemmie. This has been my midlife crisis. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.